This video is sponsored by OneFootball. OneFootball's app makes it easy to keep up to date with transfer news, scores and stats all in the one place. To download the OneFootball app, click the link in the description. The app is free. To watch more of this video, get over and join us on Patreon.
Thanks, Pete. We found this in our DMs on Twitter, but luckily enough, it wasn't time sensitive as such, so we can use it. And I know your son's been looking forward to seeing it. So there you go. It's used. We're going to discuss.
Hello, Peter's son, by the way.
Yeah. Do Everton need Europe? I think we've discussed this at length on various shows, but we're gonna
do we need it?
Do we need it?
I don't think we need it.
I do.
Actually, I'm just going to totally contradict myself. Of course, we do need it. I'm trying to cover myself so that we don't get. I can still put a positive spin on it.
But do we need it as a club?
Yeah, I do. I honestly do think we need it for the simple reason, and the manager actually said this the other day, is that when you're a club like Everton, forget what Michael Vaughan says. I've seen him having another pop at Everton on Twitter before, the weirdo. When you're a club like Everton,
not even a real sport. It's just not a real cricket.
He's not even a real man. He's a dick. When you're a club like Everton and aspiring to try and challenge at the top end, well, that's what we're told we're aspiring. We are as fans, and you need to be in as many competitions as you can, and you need to be in competitions that put your name into other places other than England. So therefore, we have to be in it, because then we get drawn away in Germany or drawn away in Romania or whatever, anywhere. And Everton's name is then bounced around, and then sponsorships and Listen, players, let's break down when players say things like, I want to play in the Champions League. They probably do a bit, but what they really mean is, I want the big fat pay, like extra bonus that I get, sponsorship wise and everything for playing in those competitions. So if Everton finish 7th, and Man City win the FA Cup and Everton are in the Europa League, then Everton's targets who they're talking to. It's just something a little bit extra to say, and we're in the Europa League as well, rather than we're aiming to try and get into Europe. We're playing European football next season as well. So again, you're going to be showcased around Europe as well.
And when you look at the Europa League and you look at the Final Four, and it's Chelsea, Arsenal beating both of them, and you Frankfurt
and
Valencia, and they're probably two teams that are similar to Everton. They're not absolute world beaters in their leagues. They're two decent sides. The way I look at it like you is that for Everton, if we could be in Europe every single season, look at Arsenal, right? Arsenal built the platform for their fan base off the back of being in the Champions League every year for like 19 seasons or
23
or whatever it was. They built that. You become a recognised face. Yeah. You become part of the elite. You become part of, whether you like it or not, things like FIFA and what the thing about it is, right?
You become relevant.
People have different gateways into football. One of and it'll always be from the top down. It won't be from the bottom up. Mm-hmm. So you're gonna have kids getting into through FIFA and things like that. They'll normally play the teams who have the best players, and that all helps build a brand.
We do when we play games. You want to play those clubs, don't you?
Yeah.
You play recognisable clubs.
Well, even if you play just because, like, say you're slightly off time, but if you're playing online and you want to beat someone, you don't necessarily go like Everton. I mean, I do, because I'm, it gives me extra power knowing I'm going to beat someone, that's how I win. But it's like, well, you've got to be the best to beat the best, if that makes sense. So you're always going to go, well, they've got that player, and it all helps it helps each other. And you're right, brands, not Marcel, actual sponsorship brands, and they'll always be attracted to that bigger market. Of course they will.
But fans as well. We're talking about. We've said this a few times, and particularly with reference to Bramley Moore. Yeah, it's that there's Evertonians out there at the moment that don't know they're Evertonians. Yeah. And so the only way you attract those people, we've said that about markets in America and things like that. Well, I'm talking about European markets as well. We know clubs because they've played in European competitions. Now, they mightn't be the Bayern Munichs of this world, but teams like Wolfsburg and people like that who've been in Europe. You know, people will talk about Hertha Berlin and people talk about Saint Etienne.
Well,
Saint Etienne haven't done anything in Europe for years, but you still know them as a European club, you know, and things like that. Whereas for Everton...
And Everton have never... We don't have a proud tradition in Europe. We just don't.
We don't.
It's just something, apart from winning the European Cup and this Cup, we don't have. Every time we seem to have had a good team, something has happened to stop us from you know, whether it be in like this, you know, the 1969-70 team, you know, dodgy referees and having to go to the San Siro and all these things. There's always been, we just don't have a history, and you have those elite teams that have. They have you know, there's clubs out there that are a lot smaller than Everton, but are probably more well known because they have a pedigree in the Champions League. There's teams out there who've won the Champions League that really are probably smaller than Everton, but because they've been in it more, and that it's that snowball effect.
Look at Seville. They built a team based on the Europa League, and they built a team to win it. And they were building teams even before they won it. Remember, and when they had like Freddie Canute and people like that, it was years ago. But they built their success off the back of that.